David will unite all 12 tribes. The first thing he does, after Ishbosheth is murdered, Israel, all of the tribes, will come down to David and say, David, we want you as king. What a compliment to this man, that he has served so well that all of the tribes come and they want him as king. And of course, David accepts the job. And the very first thing he does is he takes some of his men to Jerusalem, and he has to conquer Jerusalem. Now you might say, well, why does he have to conquer Jerusalem? Jerusalem should have been taken by Joshua back in the early days. But interesting thing about Jerusalem, it stayed under the control of the Jebusites. Even though Israelites were all around them, they never got Jerusalem. For one thing, it was up on a hill so that they could always see the enemies coming. It had an incredible wall around it. In fact, it was a fortress that people felt could not be taken. And so the men in Jerusalem hang over the wall and taunt David and say, there's not a chance that you could ever get in this place. But they forgot who was behind David. You see, David was a great man, but what made David a great man was that he had a great and awesome God. And so they came into Jerusalem by the water system, and they conquered it very quickly. And David establishes Jerusalem as his capital. Why Jerusalem? Because Hebron was more in the southern part. He needed to move his whole control center up to the northern part of Judah so that it would be in a central location that he could easily take care of and control all of the tribes. So it was a great move on his part. And isn't it interesting that today Jerusalem still plays an important part in all of world events? Well, it was taken by David in David's reign, during David's reign. The next thing he does, after he establishes a central place for government rule, he brings the ark to Jerusalem. You see, Saul had so weakened the religious system that it was almost totally destroyed. And yet, because David was a man after God's own heart, he knew that the most important thing to hold these tribes together was going to be their love and faith in God.